everybody. Welcome back to another midweek episode, and Happy New Year. You know, as everybody launches into a new year, you're always thinking about, like, what are your goals? What are your resolutions? What do you want to go after this year? The question that I want to ask you is, who's somebody that you want to get close to this year? Maybe your relationship isn't as close as you want it to be, and so how can you begin to move a little bit closer to them in that relationship? I think all of us have somebody in mind. Maybe it's a neighbor, or maybe it's a family member, or maybe it's a coworker, but we have people that we want to get closer to. And I think as Christians, the number one answer that we give every single year is we want to get closer to Jesus. But the follow-up question is, how does that happen? Well, when it comes to the everyday relationships that we have with others around us, the way that we get closer is by spending more time with them. Maybe it's an intentional time of connecting each week, or maybe it's a phone call that we're going to begin making more regularly to a family member who lives further away, or maybe it's just a time to have a date night with your spouse because you want to get closer to them, or where you want to go out and have coffee with a friend once a month because it's that time that we have together with somebody that allows us to be closer to them. Well, how do we get closer to Jesus? How do we spend time with him? I think the best answer to that question is the time that we spend in the Gospels. And that's what we're doing as we start this year here at St. John's. We're launching a new series called Love Like Jesus. And if you're going to love like Jesus, it begins by just looking at how Jesus loved people. And the best way to do that is to read through the Gospel. So we put out an 8-week reading plan where between now and the end of February, we're going to read through all 4 Gospels. And that's 1 to 3 chapters a day. And the grid that we want to invite you to utilize as you're doing this reading plan is to think in terms of 4 questions, which spell out the word love. So the first is an L. We want you, as you're doing this reading plan, to list all of the different places where you see the word love or its equivalent used. So it might be a cousin like the word mercy or the word compassion, or you might see a reference to the heart. All of that helps us to understand love. So list it. Then the O is observations. As you look at these stories of Jesus, these conversations that Jesus has, the teachings that he has, the interactions that he has with others, how is that an expression of love? Just what observations do you have? The V is for verses. As you're doing this reading, what are some of those verses that stick out to you? It might be one singular verse, or it might be a section of verses or a story that really resonates with you in the reading from that week. So list some of those verses. And then the E is, we want to invite you to think, how can you extend that love to others? It's not just enough to learn about and to experience the love that Jesus has for you, but how can you, in turn, look at the relationship you have with others? And maybe this is where you look at that person in your life that you want to get closer to, and you find ways that reflect the way that Jesus loves others in the Gospels. And you use that as a way to show love to them. Because when we love others well, guess what? It draws us closer to them. So my hope and my prayer for you as a pastor is that there's people in your life throughout this year that you're going to get closer to. And most especially that you can begin to get closer to Jesus. And one way to do that is by utilizing the reading plan that we have here at St. John's. So if you want a copy of that and you're not local, just reach out to me. Shoot me an email. I'll put it on the screen. Josh Bernau at stjohnsnya.org. I'd love to send you a copy of that and have you read along with us. Or just watch some of our Sunday mornings. We're going to be going through story after story where we see Jesus loving others, and we're going to look at the layers of that love. And if you're local and you're able not only to join us on Sunday mornings for worship, we'd love to connect with you personally in a group setting. So on Sunday mornings between services, we want to begin to talk this out with each other. And through that, we're going to get closer. We're going to get closer to each other, and we're going to get closer to Jesus. So here's to a year where we can draw closer to each other. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you again next time.